What's up everybody, your host Steve with Geek Boulevard. I recently just checked out Monkey Man and I'm here to give you my thoughts on the film as a whole. Now, just putting my usual disclaimer out there that I will be going into spoilers later in the video, so if you don't want to know too much about the story, I have included timestamps in the video so you can skip that section if you'd like. Monkey Man is the directorial debut of star Dev Patel. It is rated R with a runtime of 2 hours and 1 minute. Dev Patel plays Kid, who is an underground fighter who wears a gorilla mask and earns money to lose fights, basically. But we find out he's on a secret quest for revenge as he goes after the sinister elite forces who massacred his village and killed his mother. Dev Patel has more and more shown how great of a talent he is as an actor. In Slumdog Millionaire, The Green Knight, he's just proven himself time and time again. And now that he's behind the camera as well as in front of it, it just solidifies how talented he is in all different aspects. Despite this being a simple revenge tale, the comparisons to the John Wick franchise are pretty noticeable. The mostly silent protagonist who takes on multiple thugs to try to get to the object of his vengeance, strategizing how to take on such a big organization as a one-man army. Hell, John Wick is even referenced in the movie at one point. I mean, it's obvious that's where they were going with it, but having said that, it didn't make it any less badass. The fight scenes in this felt far more gritty and raw and not as choreographed, in my opinion, and that's definitely a good thing. It did feel like an improv type of fight at times, as you see Kid is just grabbing anything he can to keep from being killed himself, because he's just an underground fighter. He's not an assassin of any kind, and that made those sequences far more enjoyable as a result. The final fight sequence alone was the standout for sure, but I don't want to spoil that for you guys. I think you should just check it out for yourselves and you can thank me later. But there is a downside to these more raw fight sequences, and that means a lot of shaky cam footage. It didn't take away from those moments too much, but there were some moments where I felt myself kind of like having to adjust my eyes a little bit because I was getting kind of dizzy trying to follow along with the action during those shaky quick cuts. So just be mindful of that going in. You might be fine with it, it might not bother you too much, but for me it did kind of bother me just slightly. The cinematography does a really great job of capturing the environments in various dingy type of settings. You see various shots of individuals just living on the streets and drug dealing going on in the alleys and in parts of the city that Kid sort of resides in. It drives home the message that these powerful people have to be stopped because they pretty much have their hands into everything and are just controlling everything. The lighting in this movie is really fantastic too. I mean, the ambiance of the city lights and the neon colors of the clubs as Kid is just beating these guys to an absolute pulp. I mean, just it was great. Okay, from this point on, I will be delving into story spoilers, so you have been warned. Skip this section if you don't want to know more. After suffering some major injuries while trying to escape the police, Kid finds himself sheltered in a community of people who have in essence been shunned by the general population. So they take him in, they help him heal, and they sort of give him this hallucinogenic drug to kind of combat the pain that he's feeling inside of himself and give himself some newfound purpose into what he's doing and why he's doing it. So it's explained later in the film that the main reason why Kid is out for revenge and is so angry is because he's after this police chief who killed his mother and pretty much burned down his entire village, massacred all of its people. But it turns out the one really pulling the strings is a guru by the name of Baba Shakti. You see him a lot throughout the film, and he was the one who ordered the village to be taken because he wanted that property for himself, and he's our true antagonist of this story. The final fight of Kid killing the chief and killing Shakti finally, I will admit, was kind of underwhelming as opposed to the other sequences in the film. I guess with all the flashy fighting that happened before those moments, I was expecting things to like really kick it up a notch, like almost like in a video game when you're fighting the sub boss before you get to the final boss and it's just all out action. But that just wasn't really the case here once he got to that goal. He just beats the chief to death by punching him in the face multiple times, and he just stabs Shakti while he begs for his life. So the ending was a little underwhelming, and it was rather abrupt too, because after Kid kills Shakti, he collapses from his injuries, and then the movie just ends. It just cuts to black, credits roll. So I would have loved to have seen the aftermath of him killing such a powerful figure who had so many followers. You know, does all of the unrest in India and all of the violence, does it stop, or does the cycle just continue to repeat? You know, there's a power vacuum now. Who fills those shoes? Did he make a difference whatsoever? You know, those questions I would have loved to have seen answered in just a little more screen time there. But after all that, I'm gonna score Monkey Man 4 out of 5. A solid directorial debut from main star Dev Patel with intense and gritty fight sequences, solid cinematography and lighting with some minor issues like the frequent shaky cam and rather abrupt ending, but I was so enamored by this movie and I can't wait to see what Dev Patel creates next. But what did you guys think of Monkey Man? Have you had the chance to check it out yet? I know we've had 4 John Wick films, you know, at this point, but how do you think this film stacks up against, say, the first John Wick? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, sub to the channel, tick the bell to get notified when my next video is going to drop. Thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, keep it classy and keep it geeky.